As we start this video today, I'm going to be doing probably about two different plating techniques for this. Both of them are very simple and easy. One I prefer more than the other, but just to give you a couple of ideas of how you might want to plate your dish, any other dishes, and we're going to try to do that as often as we can. I'm probably going to do some other plating techniques as well later on in some other shows, but for this one, I'm just going to give you two different types of plating techniques you can use with this, and I'll give you the advantages of both of them.
Welcome back to Terrific Taste. On the menu today, garden salad with seared steak. So today's recipe is going to be super simple. Just a bunch of good vegetables, some good vegetables straight out of the garden, straight onto your plate, and a simply seared steak. We're going to start off by julienning our onion, our sweet onion. It's a Vidalia onion, white onion. Now we're going to simply wash and then slice our celery. I'm doing a couple of pieces of celery here for this. I love celery in my salad. It's a nice little fresh burst. I love celery in everything, but I particularly like it in my salad. But I'm just going to do this kind of a diagonal cut on those so I get a little more surface area. Throw the white part in a pan for stock for later. I'm going straight to my cucumbers now, and I'm going to slice those thinly. I'm washing the outside, but I'm not going to peel the outside. I like the crunch of the outside of the cucumber as well. Now for your lettuce, I've already washed this, cut down the bottom of this. I got it from a packing that's already triple washed, and I wash it myself once it comes out of the bag just to be sure. But just to make sure I don't get any grit, I'm gonna not use that bottom part anyway. And then I'm going to put this in the mixing bowl with my salad bowl with the other vegetables. What I then do is cut my tomato. Just going to take the little a part that comes off of the vine. That I don't know what you call it exactly, but I'm going to take that part out of it and then just roughly chop my tomato to go right in my salad as so. Throw that in the mixing bowl with the rest of the items. Now, once I finish with my salad, I'm just going to put some paper towels over it and then put it in the refrigerator. I do that to collect all the extra moisture that's on the leaves from the washed romaine. So all I'm going to do is just soak up any extra moisture I can with this paper towel. So into the refrigerator that's going to go, and it'll wait for me to finish searing my steak. Now, once it's ready to come out of the refrigerator, I'm going to lightly season it with salt and pepper. That's the salt and pepper mixture I have in the background. And then I'm going to take, liberally, I'm just going to take some olive oil and pour some olive oil on this and toss the salad. I'm not going to put any other dressing on it. At this point, I'll just have some balsamic at the table for whomever wants to put that on. But I don't want to, once I start adding the balsamic, that balsamic is going to then break down the texture of those vegetables in the salad. For the seared steak, very simple recipe. I'm just going to start, as always, with my oil. That's about a tablespoon and a half. I'm going to let my pan get hot, my saute pan get nice and hot. Let that oil start to kind of fizz a little bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to take my 2 pieces of skirt steak that I have. I cut it in half because I'm going to do 2 presentations. Dry it off the other side, lightly salt this side, and then I'm going straight down in my saute pan. That's the seasoned side down, and you can see me take a napkin and just wipe that clean. Get all that excess moisture off there, because if it's wet, it won't stick to the pan and then break its bond. So you got to get that as dry as you can. You don't have to overdo it with it, but you do need it fairly dry in order to achieve that crust that you want. And I'm gonna let this sit here for a little while till it gets that crust. You'll see me agitate the pan a little bit, shake it. And then I'm gonna take my tongs eventually, and I'm gonna turn this, flip this with my tongs once I've seasoned that other side. And then what I would normally do is put this directly in the oven. For this, I'm doing 2, and I cut it in half because I didn't want to have to cut it after it was done. So all I'm gonna do now is just take this and let it rest on a plate until I do the same exact process with the other one. Now into the pan goes the other one. Pull that out first. Add a little more oil to make sure it doesn't stick. That's just fond in the bottom of that. Again, it's not a dirty pan. That's just extra flavor. I'm gonna go straight down with my raw piece of meat. Straight in, pat it dry, just like I did the last one. And we're literally just repeating the same process. As this part ends, once I flip it and I end it, you're gonna see me put the other piece of meat that I had resting back in the pan, and then I'm going to add a pat of butter, and I'm going to add my herbs at this point once that happens. Then into the oven at 350 degrees, and you'll see that process as well. Now, as I said before, I'm just adding my butter, shake the pan around a little bit. I added that other piece of meat, as you see, and I'm gonna add my aromatics, my bay leaf, a little bit more salt. I actually used a little bit of Montreal seasoning as well, because I happen to love that taste. Just showing you the settings, the preheated settings of the oven. Now out that comes. I'm gonna let this rest. It's very important that you let your meat rest before you start tearing into it and cutting it. But I'm gonna put it on a different cutting board, a little meat serving board, and I'm going to reserve that liquid because I'm gonna pour that on top of the beef once it's cut or once it's ready to serve for your salad. So I'm just gonna let this rest for 3 to 5 minutes before I serve it. And again, we said we're gonna do 2 plating differences for this, just so you see the style of both. Now I have both pieces of meat resting, just move those out of the way so I can get down to the plating. So for one, and you can't really see it, I'm taking the wrapping off. It's always a good idea to preserve your serving platters in plastic wrap. That way when they clang around, they bang around, or if you're traveling somewhere with them, they just don't break. They last a lot longer. And you can spend a pretty penny on just trying to get new plates and serving bowls. Especially when they're decent quality. You don't want to just mess them up. So I'm showing a little rectangular plate. This is the one that I'm going to do the deconstructed version of the steak on, and the other one is just a salad bowl, the normal salad bowl that you see in most of my videos. I've already put the oil and the salt and pepper on this. All I'm going to do now is go straight down in my bowl with the salad, and then the meat would go directly on top of that. But I'm going to show you the rectangular plate first. And what I do with that one is I'm going to show you how you should cut your skirt steak. And there's that plate, the bowl, steak right on top of it. That's going to give it that flavor that you want. And there's the picture of the seared, deconstructed version. So all you're literally doing with this is I'm plating the salad on the back portion of this plate, and then I'm going to cut the meat and then serve the meat in that way, right in front, leaving that little space in front. I get my egg, cut it in half, and I'll put that on the back half of that as well. The issue with deconstructed for me, whenever you do deconstructed, you're not going to have your steak piping hot, and I love my steaks piping hot. This little technique is Again, me cutting against the grain. And this is the way you should serve. This makes this a lot more tender. It's already pretty tender, but if you cut it with the grain, then you're actually getting that grain, and it makes the meat, the texture of the meat, a lot tougher. But this is a little overcooked for me. For presentation purposes, it's perfect. For the video, definitely. But I'm just gonna take this meat and then put it right on the side of that, in the front of that pan. And I'm showing you this whole version with just the salad and the steak on top of that. I'm taking my aromatics and that little bit of butter that I put in there and putting it directly on top of the steak. And with this, you're gonna see me do a little shot of balsamic. Because remember, I've already put olive oil in my thing, in my salad, so I don't really need any more oil in this. I just want to give you a dose of that balsamic so you can pour it at your leisure. But again, that the pan seasoning, the pan sauce that was in the steak is really going to liven up that salad and the meat as well. So there's no real need to go heavy on the dressing or overdo it with dressing at all. That's why I'm only going to give you that shot of balsamic and let you ask me for something different if that's what you want. But it pairs perfectly with the balsamic. Again, it's just a matter of choice and taste. The benefits of having the whole piece is that steak will stay warm. The disadvantage of having the whole piece is that you are going to have to press down on the salad and mess up the integrity of the salad by cutting through, and then of course you got to cut your own steak. But either way, it's good. The advantages of the deconstructed is that it's already cut for you. Disadvantages is that meat's not going to be quite as hot. But again, there you have it: seared steak and garden salad. So once again, thank you for joining me today.